What's up, Happy Lifer? Merry Valentine's Eve.
Roses are red and violets are blue. Da-dee-da-dee-mud, dum-dee-da-dee-da.
And for those of you that don't think
Dum-dee-da-dee-da.
Valentine's Day should be a holiday,
Don't take my roses away.
don't take my roses away. Welcome to Happy Life Studios. We're here to help your life be happier.
Dum-dee-da-dee-da. 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 The only thing you said was dum-dee-da-dee-da. My roses are red. Oh, yeah.
That was Roses Are Red by Aqua.
Ha-dee-da-dee-mud, ha-dee-da-dee-mud.
Kind of feeling like a DJ. That was Roses Are Red by Aqua. I've always kind of wanted to be a DJ, little closet desire that I have there, I guess. I have done a little bit of DJing in the past. Used to work at a roller skating rink as a DJ. So I guess I've always kind of wanted to do that. But anyway, thanks for bearing with me with that song. I love that song. And when I came across that song this week, I thought that is perfect. I didn't go looking for that song for the podcast, but it came across my music player, and I'm like, that is absolutely perfect for today, because we need to finish our episode from last week entitled Roses and Pina Coladas. And we never even got to Pina Coladas. In fact, we didn't even really get through the roses part. The podcast kind of went in a different direction. And if you haven't listened to last week's podcast, I would recommend going back and listening to it. You don't have to listen to it before this one, but I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea. We basically talked about people are like rose bushes. You know, there was a DJ on the radio, and they had talked about how she didn't want roses for Valentine's Day. She'd rather have a rose bush. And we talked about how rose bushes, they take a lot of work. But roses come from rose bushes. And when people around us do nice things for us, say nice things to us, those are like roses that we get from them. And we see people's posts online that are encouraging and uplifting. Those are like roses. But they have to come from rose bushes. Roses have to come from rose bushes. And those quotes, those comments came from people that are actually rose bushes. And sometimes we want to forget the fact that, you know, it came from rose bush, because rose bushes take a lot of work. People take a lot of work. All of us take a lot of work. We need a lot of love and TLC, and that's what causes the roses to come out of us. But roses have thorns, right? And that's a perfect lead-in. But I do want to finish up my thought right there, is that people are valuable. And they're like rose bushes. And sometimes we just want to take the little roses from them, the little things that encourage us, but we don't want to take all the other work that goes into making that bush so that it can produce roses, if that makes sense. I just think that we all need some TLC. We all need some love and some attention, because we all are valuable. We all aren't just roses. We're better than roses. We are rose bushes, but rose bushes take work, and rose bushes have thorns, which leads me perfectly into the song that I was even going to talk about last week, but I never got to it. Can you guess what song it is? We're talking about roses and pina coladas, and this time we're going to get to the pina coladas. But before we do, we got to do the song about roses that I didn't do last week. Any idea what song it might be? Here's a hint. If you haven't guessed it already, Bette Midler sang it. And she sang it for a movie, and it's called The Rose.
Some say love, it is a river.
Some say love, it is a river. That song right there has got some powerful, potent words. In fact, that song was written for a movie. I don't remember what the movie was, the name of it, but it was written for a movie, and the people making the movie didn't want the song in the movie at all. And Bette Midler had to go before the producers and say she wanted this song in it in the first place. And so that's how that song even came about. That's how the song became famous, with, I think, through that movie and whatever. But the lyrics of this song are just powerful. And it's quite fitting, too, because there's oftentimes we don't want to put roses into our life either. we like the roses, but we don't like the rose bushes or the work that the rose bushes take. And sometimes we have a hard time with love because love hurts. There are so many songs that we could do in this episode, but I've got like 4 of them that I want to do, and I've already done the first one, Roses Are Red, Don't Take My Roses Away. And sometimes when people do things that aren't so lovely, their thorns show, or they're really needing some attention and the rose bush doesn't look so good anymore, we just want to ignore the rose. But don't take those roses away. Everyone has roses inside of them because we're all rose bushes. Don't take that away just because of the thorns, just because of the extra work. The song, The Rose that Bette Midler sang, it's such a powerful song. But even in that song, it has lyrics in there that, it's such a... I used to do this song. I would speak on Mother's Day and stuff, and I would do the song, and sometimes I still do. And there's some places I go back to that they say, can you do that song, The Rose? Oh, Steve, I just love it when you come and do that song, The Rose, because it's a very powerful song. It's if you haven't heard it yet, it's soft and melodic, and it just makes you feel good. But if you listen to the words cut. I mean, literally, one of the lyrics in the song is, love is a razor. Don't take my roses away. Well, they have thorns that can prick and they can hurt, right? But the lyrics to the song, The Rose, it's such a, like I said, a beautiful song. But listen to some of these lyrics. Some say, love, it is a river. Well, that sounds good, right? And the very next lyrics are, that drowns the tender reed. It's a river that drowns the reed. Some say love is a razor that leaves your soul to bleed. Some say love, it is a hunger, an endless aching need. That's why sometimes we just as soon ignore the roses or let someone take the roses away. But don't take my roses away. Yes, love is a river that can drown us sometimes. And it is a razor that can cut us sometimes and leave our souls just right there to bleed. But the next line says, but I say love, it is a flower, and you, it's only seed. I mean, that's it right there, the rose bush. You are the seed that love that grows inside you and makes you into a rose bush to produce roses to make life more fragrant and better for everyone else that's out there. I mean, the rest of I'll just go over the lyrics really quick. It's the heart that's afraid of breaking that never learns to dance. It's the dream afraid of waking that never takes a chance. It's the one who won't be taken, who cannot seem to give, and the soul afraid of dying that never learns to live.
That never learns to live.
And then,
When the night has been too lonely and the road has been too long.
when the night has been too lonely, and I'm feeling the pain right now because I've got friends in this situation. And I know a lot of people that are in a tough spot right now. And sometimes the nights do get lonely, and the road does get too long. Just remember,
Just remember in the winter, far beneath
far beneath
the bitter
bitter snow,
lies the seed that with the sun's love in the spring becomes the rose.
and all these nice things that people do, they're surrounded by the pain too. All of us have pain. All of us have loneliness. All of us have hurt. And sometimes we can be cutting. And sometimes we can hurt people and we can do bad things and things that are destructive to people. But we are still a rose bush. And if someone will take care of us, roses are going to come out of us. And if we'll be patient with other people, instead of seeing the razor in them, let's see the flower in them. Instead of seeing that river, that torrent that just comes from that person that tends to drown us, we need to see that there's a flower in them, there's a seed in them, that they are a rose bush. Next song I want to do, the third song, was originally performed, I believe it was by, I think she was the first one anyway, by Dionne Warwick. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. But I love this version of it. I love Dionne's version of it too, but I came across this version, and I really love it because it's got these children singing in it. And to me, that just brings out the innocence of us, because every one of us still have a child down deep inside there.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Is the only thing that there's just so little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
And man, I can say things that are cutting, and I can come across like a bulldozer sometimes, and sometimes I even want to because I'm hurt, right? But bottom line, overall, I don't. I want to be seen for what I have to offer. Every one of us wants to be seen for what we have to offer. I mean, how many times has someone been a little bit harsh and they'll say, you don't know me. What they're saying is, I want you to know me. And sometimes people don't know us because we will not open ourselves up to them. But we have something valuable inside. We have a child inside of us that all of a sudden, you know, how is it they call that term now we call adulting, that's been around for a long time, right? I don't want to adult today. I don't want to grow up. I want to be a Toys R Us kid, right? And there's something innocent about a kid singing this song.
No, not just for some, but for everyone.
And isn't that the truth? That's really what the world needs right now. It needs love. It needs sweet love.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
That's what we all need.
It's the only
I don't know about you, but oftentimes I can be like, why can't you just love me? Why can't you just see me for who I am? And yet I judge somebody else. I mean, what comes around goes around. You harvest what you plant. And so when you plant judgment, you tend to get judgment back. And what I'm saying is that we often want people to love us. You know, we want them to give us a break. We want them to just understand I've had a rough day. But that other person that I've been harsh to, or that was harsh to me, they probably had a rough day too, or a rough life, or a rough month, or a rough year. And if we will just take the time and see the flower inside them instead of the razor, if we will see the rose bush that's right there in the making, if we can just take care of it, fertilize it, prune it, we're going to get hurt. We're going to get stuck by those thorns sometimes. But in the end, all the roses that come out of that bush is worth it, because it not only makes our life more fragrant and better, but it also makes all the other people around us and around that person, makes their life better. I really hope I'm not coming across as cheesy here. I can do that sometimes. And so I apologize if I might be doing that, but I hope you're catching the concept of every one of us has value. You know, roses are valuable anyway, but right around this time of the year, you want to talk about half-price chocolates day, you know, after Valentine's Day is over, right? Well, roses are the same way. When Valentine's Day is over, you can get those roses for probably about a fourth or a fifth of the cost that you're going to pay right now. But right now, they are of prime quality. Chocolates the same way. This next week, you're going to see the chocolates drop, right? You're going to see the chocolate prices drop, and you can see the rose prices drop. But right now, they're valuable, and you are that value. You are valuable. You are something that is here to make the world a better place, to make the world smell better, to make the world taste better. So there's your roses. I agree with that DJ. I'd rather get a rose bush than a rose. But I tell you what, roses are nice. That thought, when you get that from somebody, that's nice to be noticed by them. But for roses to happen, rose bushes have to be cared for and loved on. And then they make the best roses. If you don't prune that rose bush back, if you don't take care of that rose bush, it doesn't put out the roses, and it doesn't put them out nearly as good. If it does put them out, they're not nearly as good or as many as when you take the time and the hard work and put it into that, and then the roses that come out. I remember as a kid, like I said, my dad, we had like 30-some rose bushes in our backyard, if I remember correctly. And man, the whole backyard would just smell like roses. So, You're a rose bush, and all the people around you are too, and they are of high value. They are of high value, but their value is not going to go down next week. So let's realize that. And lastly, what we've all been waiting for, yes, we're finally getting to it. Been talking about it for 2 weeks now, and now at the end of this podcast, we're finally going to bring it out. The Pina Coladas.
If you like pina coladas,
If you like Pina Coladas. There you go. That song in some ways actually has always been kind of a little unnerving to me, a little uncomfortable to me. If you listen to the lyrics of the song, it's about this couple that are married to each other, and yet they don't see the value in each other. They haven't noticed that the rose bush inside of the other one. They've forgotten all about that. So the one spouse puts an ad in the paper saying, hey, if you like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, right? Starts talking about all the stuff that this person likes. And then, of course, the spouse, unknowing that was their spouse in the song, right, replies to that ad, and they end up meeting together. Meet me at this place, this cafe or coffee shop or whatever. Meet me there. And then when they get to the coffee shop, they realize that they're staring at each other. They put out that ad, and they saw the rose bush and the person on the other side of that ad. Like, wow, this person loves pina coladas. But it's kind of unnerving because it's almost like the couple wants to leave their spouse behind, leave their partner behind, leave their lover behind, and go looking for someone else. Because the grass is always greener on the other side, right? And it's not even a fair comparison, honestly. When you live with someone for a long time, you can tend to forget what attracted you in the first place. And pretty soon you can take them for granted. In the same way, we can take all the people around, all the rose bushes around us, we can take them for granted, and we ignore them, and we wonder why they don't put out roses anymore. And the point that I'm trying to get across with this song is, it's basically the point of the song, right? Is that person that they laid next to every night, that person that they are with and they spend all their time with, they forgot that person was a flower. They didn't even know that the other one liked pina coladas and getting caught in the rain. Didn't even know, what is it, that they like champagne. I can't remember all the lyrics of it right now, right? But they had forgotten all of that because they had forgotten the value of that spouse. It wasn't until they filled out the personal ad and they went and saw each other, and then they saw that was you that wrote that? You really like walking in the rain, getting caught in the rain? Yeah, I did. I didn't know that. No, because we took each other for granted. And if we will just stop and start paying attention to the people around us, we will see their rose bushness, right? If we'll start paying attention to the rose bushes around us and just sit back instead of expecting the same old thing and taking it for granted, sit back and watch. Listen to them. Watch them, how they act and how they perform when they don't know that you're watching them, and you will see the roses come out of them, because every one of us has that in us. We are rose bushes. We are the seed, and sometimes we can cut like a razor, and sometimes we can drown others like a river. But what we need is people to see the seed of that rose inside of us, because if they will come and give us that attention. I was just talking to a happy lifer today, and they are in the situation where their spouse, just like the Pina Colada Song, their spouse, their rose bush that they've committed to, has just been brutal with their words, telling them that they're, a failure, all sorts of negative words that they shared with me that their rose bush that they live with has been saying to them. And they just said to me, I just don't feel very good today. I feel like a loser. And I looked them in the face and I said, you are not a loser. You are valuable. And happy lifer, whether this is your first time listening to us, maybe someone shared this with you, maybe you've been listening to us and been a happy lifer for a long time, but I want you to hear the same thing out of my mouth. You are not a failure. You don't do everything wrong. You are valuable, and we do need you. I want you to know that I see your value, and I see that rose inside of you. And I just don't see you as a rose that comes and goes. I see you as a rose bush. We see you as a rose bush. And we need you to be at your best mental health. Because when you are at your best health, the roses that come out of you, the things that you say, the things that you do, just your actions, just the way you carry yourself are so fragrant and appealing to everyone around you. And that's what we need right now. What the world needs right now is love, sweet love. Who else is going to give it? That's our role. And I know we want people to give it to us. If we want love, then all we have to do is plant love, and we are going to harvest love. Happy Valentine's Day. Whether you think it should be a holiday or not, to me it doesn't really matter. It's all about you. We all need love. We all need to be accepted. We all need people in our life that will care for us, because we are champions, because we are valuable, and the world really does need us.
No, not just for some. Sing it. No, not just for some.
No, not just for some,
But for everyone.
but for everyone.
Yes, it's perfect.
Thanks for listening. I hope that helped.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. Is the only thing that there's just so little of.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Remember, life isn't perfect, but that doesn't mean it can't be happy.
Steve Ace.